What is up YouTube, and welcome to this Game of Thrones video. So if you're new to the channel, a like and a subscribe is super appreciated, and welcome to this Game of Thrones video. Now I've been looking and thinking about Jon Snow's parentage, which is a curiosity which has taken season 7 by storm, and we were given the Tower of Joy information, the scenes that we had, the fight, which was completely badass last season, and we had more hints about his parentage, with Gilly mentioning the fact that Rhaegar was, or had, an annulment against his wife, Lyanna Martell, which obviously that whole thing set off a cataclysmic chain of events and led to Oberyn Martell dying as he tried to actually save and kind of protect her memory and get some revenge. However, the rebellion that Robert led so valiantly against an evil empire of the Targaryens, the Sith, or the Imperials, and he was angry that the woman that was promised to him, Lyanna Stark, was actually abducted by the Radiant, the fantastic singer Rhaegar Targaryen. Now, let's take you back and discuss Robert's rebellion first. Now, Harrenhal was a big part of the past few seasons of Game of Thrones. It was a garrison there, and we also had Arya Stark stalking and killing people there, which is where she met Jack and her car. But there was the tourney of Harrenhal. Now, at this tourney of Harrenhal, it was meant to signal spring, and we had a rare appearance of Aerys Targaryen, the Mad King, who had not been seen for quite some time outside of his tower. And there we had Rhaegar Targaryen, who was very much think of Loras Tyrell at the tourney we had in season 1. And then what happened is he won, and he was supposed to give this crown of beauty to his wife, Lyanna Martell, but he gave it to Lyanna Stark instead. And that, Ned Stark said, was when the day that the Smiles died. And it did pretty much set off everything that happened. Now, an undisclosed amount of time after that, we had Lyanna Stark, who was actually abducted by Rhaegar Targaryen. And it looked like this evil Targaryen had actually abducted her, and it was not looking good for her whatsoever. But her family was having none of this, and Brandon Stark, obviously the namesake of Bran, he went to King's Landing and called for Rhaegar Targaryen for him to come out and die, which then led to his father, Rickard Stark, coming to his aid, as Brandon Stark had been arrested, and they were all taken to be arrested. And they were actually given a trial by combat, which then led to the Mad King giving the trial by combat, but the champion of the Targaryens was fire, and they were lit alight. And, well, that was that. The rebellion was lit. Now, an interesting thing about this was the fact that Brandon Stark was actually meant to be marrying Catelyn Stark, and he was actually on his way for his wedding when he heard that his sister had actually been abducted. And then all of this set about the rebellion, and we had the Baratheons and the Starks march south to get revenge on the Targaryens, and obviously the Lannisters joined in as well, and this led to the end of the Targaryens, which that was Robert's rebellion. Now, of course, this was completely built on the fact that the rebellion was all to do with an abduction of Lyanna Stark. Now, Lyanna Stark was abducted by Rhaegar. However, we don't really have any kind of word on how true this actually was. Now, we saw at the Tower of Joy, Lyanna Stark was there and was protected by the Kingsguard. So you have to wonder why, if it was simply an abduction, why are the Kingsguard there protecting the person that Rhaegar has actually abducted? Well, it's because obviously she had a child, But this would be a bastard, of course, wouldn't it, if they weren't actually married? But then it turns out that seemingly all is not what it seems, as Gilly said that, well, they had the annulment there. The annulment happened, and that was that. Now we need to find out exactly if this wedding occurred, which I do think that a secret wedding actually happened, and that the child that went on to become Jon Snow was actually legitimised and would be the true heir to the Iron Throne. So there we know that the reason that Kingsguard were there because, well, it was a legitimate heir, which means they were married, and there was actually some love there as well. So you have to wonder, why would Robert be so angry and incensed to cause this war and maybe lie about this abduction? And that could be that he has been affronted by the Targaryens. We had Rhaegar, who was Mr. Steal Your Girl, stole his betrothed and then banged her and had a kid with her. So poor old Robert Baratheon there, he can never get any luck. He never had any kind of legitimate kids as well. So that guy, I guess that was his penance for causing this rebellion, all this death over the fact that his girl was stolen. So that is what I think was happened there. Now I have to wonder as well, when will this all actually come out? Because I predict, obviously, in the finale that we will see Bran tell Sam about everything that has happened, and that Jon Snow needs to know that he is the true heir. And what ramifications will there actually be for this? But all of this has been built on a lie. We even had Ned Stark mention or underplay sort of what happened at the Tower of Joy as well. And maybe the only person alive who can actually tell us the truth of everything that took place is Howland Reed, who I hope we actually finally see in person in Season 8 as well. So I hope that that actually happens, we see him. But that is it for this video. Please do drop a like. Please do subscribe. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.